Coming up, campus safety. 3 college shootings in the last 10 days have universities on edge. What's being done to keep students safe? And what are the presidential candidates saying about these shootings?
Then the Democratic debate. It's coming up tomorrow. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders go head-to-head. But will Vice President Biden make an appearance? District Wire News starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Trey Yingst.
And I'm Emily Ikeda. We begin today with news affecting flyers across the country. Hundreds of Southwest flights are delayed after a technical glitch. The glitch caused thousands of passengers to miss their flights. The airline is suggesting that flyers print boarding passes before arriving at the airport. This is the second major technical glitch to cause airport delays in the past month.
In the past 10 days, 3 college shootings have shocked the country and brought the topic of school safety back into focus. As a result of those shootings, District Wire News is taking a look at what's being done to protect students and faculty at local universities. Jeff Martin is live in the studio with more. Jeff?
Hey, thanks, Trey. When I went around D.C. today to see what schools were doing to protect their students, what I really learned is that this is a problem without a real solution. Take a look. Every semester, American University professor Eugene Walton has to put active shooter guidelines on the syllabus for his class. And while that may not faze him, it's still a sign of the growing risk of shootings on college campuses.
I still don't get up every day and think about the possibility of a shooting, although, I guess the chances are getting better every day.
Those guidelines hit students even harder after the recent mass shootings on campuses in Oregon and Texas, prompting calls for action from presidential candidates.
Our country needs to examine, not immediately talk about what they use to kill people, and in fact focus in on why it is this violence is happening.
I would not just stand there and let him shoot me. I would say, hey guys, everybody attack him. He may shoot me, but he can't get us all.
It is just heartbreaking. It is sickening to me to see another massacre. People should not have to be afraid to go to college like this one.
But as Walton told me, while political leaders may want to do something, they've got to find common ground.
There are 2 separate sides in different camps, and they're not solution-oriented kind of mindsets. And so until we get like a solution-oriented mindset, we will live with this, with this reality of gun violence. So.
Now, while officials at schools weren't able to tell me exactly what they're planning to do, they did assure me that students would be safe. Back to you, Trey.
Thanks, Jeff. A football fan is in critical condition after being shot in the head at a Dallas Cowboys game. The shooting occurred in a parking lot after the Cowboys-Patriot game. Witnesses say the crowd egged the shooter on after a fight. Police found the man, who was in his early 40s, bleeding on the ground with a gunshot wound. The victim was airlifted to a local hospital with critical injuries.
Police are searching for the suspect of a sexual assault after a woman apparently mistook another car for Uber in Northwest D.C. Police say the woman entered a 4-door sedan just before 4 a.m. Saturday in the 3500 block of Macomb Street Northwest. After the driver pulled a knife and sexually assaulted the woman, she was able to escape without further injury, according to police. The suspect is described as a Middle Eastern man in his early 30s with black curly hair.
The Democratic primary debate is tomorrow night, but many people aren't even aware that it's happening. Daniela Burson reports on a strange situation in the Democratic Party.
It's the day before the Democratic primary debate, and hundreds of people are taking pictures and exploring the grounds around the White House. Most people visiting the president's house today are unaware that the race for its next president is already underway. Tomorrow night, 5 Democratic candidates are debating on national television. Most Democratic voters are supporting either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. Vice President Joe Biden is also a popular choice, but he hasn't announced if he's running yet.
I don't really know a whole lot about him, so I know he's had a lot of tragedy in his personal life lately.
Hillary Clinton also received support from the crowd.
I like that she's getting the opportunity to become a woman empowerment. That's a beautiful thing for our country. I believe that'll help. But besides that, I haven't looked into it too much.
Bernie Sanders was a common favorite.
Personally, I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter, so.
And I like Bernie too. A lot of things about him. I don't strongly affiliate with either side. I want somebody who can cut through the nonsense.
Well, there's a lot of artists that support him, and I'm an artist myself, so I would probably attract to him before anybody else.
Most of the people I spoke to knew that Sanders and Clinton were running, but couldn't name the other three candidates, Martin O'Malley, Lincoln Chafee, and Jim Webb. Despite knowing very little about the Democratic field, people are still interested in the issues themselves and who best represents how they feel. While the debate may be a big deal in Washington, it appears that people outside the Beltway aren't as enthusiastic. From District Wire News, I'm Daniela Burson.
Trump stays on top in Republican presidential polls, closely followed by fellow political outsider Ben Carson. Ted Cruz is in third place with 9%, rising 4 points from September. Marco Rubio is fourth, Jeb Bush fifth, and Carly Fiorina is sixth. Trump and Carson have the highest favorable ratings, but Trump, along with Jeb Bush, also has the highest unfavorable ratings. Bush has dropped 11 points since August.
A Washington Post journalist who has been held in Iran on espionage charges was convicted Sunday. Jason Rezaian was arrested in Iran in 2014 while serving as bureau chief for the Post. As of Monday morning, the U.S. State Department could not confirm the guilty verdict. Washington Post executive editor Martin Barron called the potential conviction an outrageous injustice.
The annual Columbus Day ceremony took place outside of Union Station this morning and drew supporters and critics of Christopher Columbus. The ceremony took place directly under the statue dedicated to Columbus right outside of Union Station. Emily Jeffers reports from Union Station.
Columbus Day draws many people to Union Station Plaza. Each year, members of the public, park rangers, and representatives from the Italian and Spanish embassies gather at the base of the Columbus Memorial statue. Event organizers say the purpose of the ceremony is to honor and remember the achievements of Columbus. Members from the various embassies spoke one by one, remembering this day.
However, after 523 years, we still remember October 12, 1492, when Columbus set foot for the first time on American soil.
While many people turned out to today's ceremony, not everyone here was in support of Christopher Columbus. A handful of protesters stood outside the ceremony holding up signs that expressed how they feel about Columbus.
I think it should be called Columbus Day. I think it should be called Indigenous Peoples Day, and I do think that we should have it off. And we should have free access to museums about Native Americans, and we should learn about the atrocities that were committed against the indigenous people of this continent in our history books.
For District Wire News, I'm Emily Jeffers.
Coming up, racial tension at American University. Racist comments on a popular social media app has students at AU divided. We'll take a closer look after the break.
And a preview to the U.S. Marine Corps Marathon. More when we return. Stay tuned.